the bus. I've just been a little bit sick, sort of like half sick, and
Four, two,
uh, I got off the bus and been sick because there was one occasion in the past where I was sick on a bus, and as a result, I couldn't keep it in. As a result, the bus had to terminate, and it was no longer in use, and it wasn't nice because all the other people, the passengers, had to evacuate the bus, and it weren't nice. So I got off. I was lucky to get off the bus, but I was recording. So if you check my last podcast, you'll see I was recording, and then I felt sick all of a sudden. But now I'm doing this podcast because I'm a little bit upset. I'm really cheesed off how things are turning around for me. A couple of days ago, I just want to give you a gist of the background. Yeah, a couple of days ago, I done a podcast in a local, outside a local coffee shop on a public pavement, and that podcast was telling the public about my hunger strike, my quote presidential case unquote, and it was also I was quite pleased that a leader of the Lebanese political party started to follow my account. Yeah, that is the legitimate leader of a political party in Lebanon. And the reason why he followed my account is because in the past I'd asked him on Facebook in front of the public, and there are witnesses out there who will vouch for that, including Syrian girl who follows my who follows my Facebook, and also Chris Dorsey, a former commentator on Press TV, who's also been in a not that far off a case where he's been targeted by the local government himself, and I do know quite a bit about how he was targeted. But unfortunately, well, fortunately for him, he was more connected in order to deal with his issues than I am, and I am not connected to deal with my issues. The only connection I have is this man fair. This is the connection I have to get out to you, the public. So what's happened is I'm on my way to see a well-known Muslim leader now, and oh, I bumped my head twice on that. That's rubbish. I need to take that with me. Yeah. Basically, I come on Twitter and I started doing a podcast. Check it out, yeah? It's one of my previous podcasts. It was done either between the 4th and the 6th. Where was it done? Today is the 8th. It was done between the 2nd and the 6th, yeah? And that podcast basically was explaining what had happened to me, yeah, and it was explaining all the racism that had happened to me. Someone is calling me, 0203. 1 second. I'm not sure if whether I want to answer that right now. In fact, I won't. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm going to wait until it goes. Right. So that podcast was done, and I got my message out. Now, this coffee shop knows me from when I was a child, literally a child. And all their family know me well. Each and every member of their family know me well. And they know me from decades ago, for decades now. One of them, who's not there, who's there, he's the one that I know least out of the rest of them. Now, today I went in to get a coffee, and I sat down, bought coffee, drank it, and then when I got up and about to go, I was told that there was 2 coffees that I'd purchased prior, some days ago, and I never paid for them. Now, first of all, I've got a brain on my head. Yeah, and I know that I paid for the coffee, the two coffees. They were £6.40, two coffees. And I told him I was upset with them why they hadn't brought it up straight away. If I didn't pay, then they should have brought it up straight away, but they didn't. Yeah, and that wasn't right. So what had happened? What had happened? I'm going to jump to the crux of it. What had happened is the person who's managing that coffee shop, right? I was looking at the wall and I see a big picture, and that picture was of his brother or his family relation who owns the coffee shop. His name is George. George takes tips off of me, sports tips. He loses money as well, but he makes money. Yeah? And they follow me. There are many people all over Islington who know who I am, and they follow my podcast. George is one of them, right? And so there is a framed picture of George saying that he is the hero of EC1. The EC1 hero. Pride EC1 hero. Now, I asked, what is the hero of EC1 for? And nobody knew, or nobody said anything. And it was just one of those inquisitive questions. But no doubt that this manager, yeah, who's been put in there, yeah, because George, yeah, he's an old fella, yeah, he's a bit of an alcoholic, yeah, quite frankly. Let's not kid ourselves here. Many years ago, my dad used to be an alcoholic, and he gave it up, but George kept it, and for some reason he's been given an award. Not really. I don't really give a toss whether he's got that reward. All I was doing was asking that question. Now, his brother must have not liked me asking that question. He didn't like me asking that question, or when I produced a podcast, when I made that podcast about Hezbollah political leader, His Excellency Professor Ibrahim Musawi, started to follow my account. Yeah, because obviously he's obviously been updated about my podcasts, yeah, through journalists and through also me contacting him directly on Facebook in front of everybody, in front of the world, yeah, and telling him to hand over my quote presidential case unquote to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Lebanon, because I've had enough of the President and the Prime Minister, both Zionist presidents, both Zionist Prime Minister. Hariri was a Zionist Prime Minister, Sunni. Suleiman was a Zionist President, Maronite. Now, the fact that I done that podcast sitting on a pavement outside the coffee shop in front of the street, yeah, on a pavement, yeah, it was heard by everyone, yeah, and they all have access to my podcast. Most of the people in that local community know me from fucking donkeys, from absolutely decades, yeah. Most of the people I see who sit in that coffee shop, I know them, I know their children who've grown up, I know what schools they went to, and all, you know, that's what it is like in my community. Now, this man who works in that who's a manager in that coffee shop, not George, the other one, yeah, he didn't like me doing that podcast, yeah, and I showed all his staff, oh look, Ibrahim, His Excellency Professor Ibrahim Musawi is following me, so clearly my hunger strike, there's some kind of correlation between my hunger strike, him having an interest in my case now, and he's a professor, yeah, he's a professor, he's a proper qualified professor. Oop, I spat on you. You've got to have a joke in between these podcasts, because it's as serious as I am, and believe you and I am proper serious. Yeah. I have to show some kind of personality in me in between. So this man didn't like me doing that podcast outside his coffee shop. So what did he do? He goes and gets one of the Italian staff, yeah, Always calls me Habibi, greets me when he sees me. We exchange words in Italy, and all his staff know me exactly who they are, and they all respect me, and I respect each and every one of them, even the ones in the back of the coffee shop, at the back of the coffee shop doing the work behind the scenes. They all get a hello from me, and they all return it. So this guy decides to tell one of his staff to charge me for 2 coffees, which I paid for prior to 3 days ago. Now, I told him that he's out of order bringing up with me now. He should have brought it up with me then. Yeah. I told him that who is it that told him to charge me an extra 2 cups of coffee? He wouldn't tell me. The staff wouldn't tell me. He jumped into a dive, and he wouldn't actually come out and say that. So I called his manager to say it in front of him, and he wouldn't say it. So I told him that I'd walked away. I paid for those 2 extra coffees and the coffee that I had this morning. Yeah, but I walked away and I called my bank, and my bank looked it up, and you see a couple of transactions. One was a £23 transaction that I had, where I sat down with one of my old-time colleagues, friends, neighbours, sort of, who was also one of the people I interviewed about British MP Emily Thornberry, and the words that come out of his mouth was, "She is racist." He used Cockney, but I won't say it here. Yeah, and he did say, I think he thought she was a dyke. Actually, she was a bisexual or something like that. I don't know. I really don't give a toss. And so I get accused of not paying for 2 coffees that were bought and purchased on that day. On that day, I'd done that podcast. Yeah. And then my bank tells me I've already paid it. So I go back to the coffee shop. I confront the Italian. I said, "Who actually told you, Sam Naver? That person who told you, I want him here now." Yeah. Right. So it was his boss who told him it, and his boss done it out of spite. His boss done it out of spite. Yeah. They thought that I was gonna walk away and not pay for 2 fucking coffees. You having a laugh? Who are you fucking talking to? I'm one of the most honest people in Islington. Yeah? I am a honesty is best policy actor. Yeah? I've been practicing it. I've been practicing honesty is best policy since one of the highest profile Maronites that I've ever met in my entire life, and he is until today, yeah? Yeah? He told me, advised me, "Sam, honesty is best policy. Always be honest." And I've carried that throughout my whole life and career. So this man, he's not really, it's not a case of whether I paid for it or not. I'd already paid for it, and I'd already verified that. But he was making a message there. And because he was making a message there, he didn't like me, and the fact that he heard that Professor Ibrahim Musawi, the political wing of Hezbollah, started to follow me. Yeah, he didn't like that. Yeah, didn't like that. So I'm going to expose this cunt, right? Because I believe that there's a correlation between my podcast and what he done. So I've called my bank and told them to stop the transaction, right? First of all, I told them to stop both transactions, right? And this morning, after speaking to them on the phone, and them saying one of them is pending, so they've got to wait for it, and they're not capturing everything that I said to them correctly, I've decided to go and make a complaint into the branch, and I've gone there and I sat with the manager and I made that complaint, and as a result, I'm taking action. Now, this coffee shop, right, after I walked away and it was established that I'd already paid, I got I got my bank on the speaker in front of him. So my bank were relaying those transactions that were paid on speaker in the coffee shop in front of the staff, all his fucking staff, yeah, and they confirmed it. And the guy, right, the manager there, I only wish I had his name. I would plaster it all over the internet, and I will do eventually. Right? What did he do? He went and he pulled out a tenner. Right? This morning they made me pay for 3 coffees. 2 of them I'd already paid for. Right? And they come up to about £9 something. Right? So he goes and pulls out a tenner from the till, right? And he tells me that's there's an extra coffee there. There's an extra price of coffee there, so you got that today's one for free. And he slammed the till machine. When he slammed the till machine, right? I told him that I take that slamming of that till machine as a slap in my fucking face, and I walked out. Yeah. So, yeah, you who want to fuck with us Muslims, yeah, you fucking Turks in that place, yeah, because let's face it, yeah, you are Turkish, yeah, you Turks, yeah, who are getting your asses elevated by the Zionist bitch here in Islam, yeah, I'm about to expose you right now, yeah, so you better tell all your staff, yeah, to go and get a CV, and if they want a CV, come and talk to me, I'll punch up the fucking perfect CV, yeah, tell your staff there, the Egyptian, the Italian, all the other staff there, yeah, I'll give you free CVs, yeah? I'm a former job club manager, job club leader, yeah? So I'm happy to give you free CVs. In the meantime, yeah, I want the accountancy forensics team in that coffee shop. They also own a fish and chip shop next to it. Yeah, they used to own one in Brighton, right? And as far as I'm concerned, I want the accountants down at King Square Bakery. King Square Bakery, yeah? That King Square where I'd also done a video showing you that park there where me and King Robbo, John Robertson, used to play in that playground there where Pink Floyd done their album in that square there. Yeah, I've done it before. I've done a podcast on it. Yeah, and I'm here to expose King Square Bakeries, yeah? I want accountancy forensics on this bakery, yeah? I want them debunked, yeah? I also want any immigration to debunk any employees there illegally working there. I want them debunked, yeah? Anyone not paying their fucking taxes in that organisations, including the owner of that firm, yeah? I want a proper forensics on them, yeah? And this is to teach you lot all, yeah? Who, just because a political leader follows me, yeah? All of a sudden people want to make their fucking political statements on me, yeah? حيوان صباح الخير يا معلم صباح الخير. Good afternoon, I should say. صباح الخير. هلا شفتوا هالمانياكي اللي we get confronted with? So I'm going to shut down these resources that I've been using, and they have been not very helpful. I'm going to shut them down. So I vote with my feet. And while we're at it here, let me just retweet this message here. This is to you political leaders out there who should have and could have but didn't. This is for you, yeah? This is for you, يا حيوان. خربتوا لي حياتي. They've infiltrated my fucking family. Yeah? إذا ما بتعرفوا شو معناتها psyop, yeah? Yeah? Go stick your head where the sun don't shine. And on that note, I'll bid you a good day.